Good day, my friends. It's a pleasure to come with you and spend time with you and go over your cases here. Matter of fact, I think we ought to keep on going and try to get as many covered as I can this morning. I only have about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours here. So I want to go over this and start going here. And the subject is Matthew. And this is from Matthew. Hi, doctor. Here's where I am at right now. Any advice on turning my health back around would be real. I have high blood pressure. Okay, stop right there. High blood pressure. If high blood pressure, and you almost answered it with your next problem. Your next problem is kidney disease. Right there's the problem. Right there's the problem to high blood pressure. Now remember, if it's a swinging high blood pressure where 1 minute it's high, the next minute it's normal, or it's high when you're out and it's normal when you're at home. Cerebellum, inflammation, acidosis, still from kidneys. But when the kidneys start to go down, high blood pressure. Diastolic is your kidney pressure and systolic is your adrenal pressure. Kidney disease, you got to turn that one around because remember, these are the eliminative organs of your sewer system. You don't fix your sewer system, that's all the lymphatic system. The lymphatic, lymphoma, inflammation, all that's from that same system. Yeah, swallowing, digestive, bowel issues. Well, because when the kidneys are down, your sewer system backs up. It's simple to understand. You know, if someone cuts off your sewer pipe outside of your house, it is not fun what you're going to experience. And this is just what it is inside. Your sewage is backing up. Sewage is acidic. So you're going to see, for the most part, and you're going to see, of course, acidosis. The word we commonly use for acidosis is inflammation. But inflammation is simply an immune response. To what? Acids, proteins, 9 times out of 10. If you look at all research and you look at all that, it's always to the acid side and proteins. So they swell, and your throat will swell, but this is also telling me you're probably impacted all the way through your intestinal wall, small and large, which means you're malabsorbed. And that's, that can be serious because your nutrients aren't getting absorbed into you. Weight loss, 25 kilos. I had diarrhea for a few years. Now it's probably in more pancreatic gallbladder as well. Remember, your gallbladder and liver is a branch off of that tree of the GI tract. Remember that? And all these organs that come off of that. And they're going to be backed up as well as the stomach and the esophagus too. Yeah. This is what's going on there. And then, of course, that'll trip you into diarrhea a lot of times, or the opposite. For a few years now, it doesn't want to come out these days, and it's never a solid stool. Yeah, I mean, you're probably neurologic, going back to kidney disease and the adrenals. Here's the other kick to that, is that your adrenals controls the autonomics, particularly the sympathetic side, but still the autonomic nervous system, which then is your peristalsis. So when your kidneys are down, your adrenals are down, and of course, your neurological system, your autonomic, your worker bee is down. And of course that can slow up breathing, make it hard to take a deep breath. That can change arrhythmias in the heart, and it can also add to constipation and peristaltic problems. Also chronic fatigue, going back to the adrenal glands. That's the neurotransmitters I'm talking about. And as that system goes down, you go down with it. You're tired, you're lacking the epinephrines and stuff like that. And of course then you don't get the blowback from those. Had sinus congestion for years because in there's the pituitary and the head and everything else, and of course you don't want all that. So it sounds like you're saturated, lymphatically speaking, from head to toe, and that's serious. That's all acids and inflammation. You want all that out of you because nothing ever good comes when you're saturated like that. You can start popping tumors on your neck, pituitary tumor. I mean, it's just a nightmare. Excuse me. When your lymph system is backed up like this, and when your kidneys go down. So the first thing foremost, stop all protein. I mean, even things that look like a nut or a seed, you stop all protein, or you can't stop the downhill slide of the kidneys if you're doing proteins. Fact. So stop the proteins. Get on a raw diet for sure. And I would do the grapes, the berries, and the melons over the vegetables because of the digestive and everything else. You want to start adding astringents in here and start getting those kidneys up and running. You definitely want to get on the herbs. It'd be my opinion. In my opinion, if you were me, I'd be hitting that 14-week, or I'd be writing you one up for that. You want to get on at least 2 kidney formulas, 1 capsule, 1 tincture, and get in there and go on this. Because nothing ever good comes when kidneys go down. That's when you start seeing the tumors and the lymphomas and the lymph node swelling and everything else. You know, when you remove your ability to remove waste out of your body, you can imagine what's going to happen. Medical doctors like to call those diseases, but that's okay, live in that world. But if you want to know factually what's going on, then look at how the body works and understand your body is very simplistic in the way it works. The complication comes in the chemistry and all the nano, subnano, all the levels involved in life to make life work. But we don't care about those, and you can't care about those, or you'll lose your joy, you'll lose your happiness, and you'll lose your health because you never focus on truth and reality. The mind keeps taking you in plus, but, keep going and adding and changing, and you'll never find reality or truth. Your mind is what keeps you away from truth. You are the living truth. Your mind just doesn't let you know that. Because it sees itself as separate. I'm me, you're you. I'm guessing my adrenals are down from kidney. Well, you guys are smart, and that's a whole. I'm proud of you guys. You're smart. You're getting it, and that's once you get it, you just now got to fix it. And we only have so many tools to fix things, so don't let things go too long without fixing them. Right on there. Stress and sinus issues, probably the lymphatic system. Yep, you got it, 100%, bro. I cut out dairy and gluten. Boy, I would. How fast? Yep, as I've seemed to not tolerate them. No one does. No one tolerates that crap. There's nothing healthy about grains, and there's nothing healthy about milks, and there's nothing healthy about any of these things. Especially for anyone past 2 years old. I used to think it was 3, but medically they say 2 years old your baby needs to be weaned. Now, I'll go with that one. 3's too long. And yet I had a lady in here, 5 years old, still breastfeeding her baby. Oh, no, stop, no. Maybe I just don't. I have got a small percentage of my kidney function back as I've been changing my diet. Good man. And you'll get it all back. Your kidneys regenerate. So just keep them cooled down with the fruits and the berries and the melons. Be real nice with them. No proteins whatsoever. Proteins are aggressive and acids and things like that. So when you have something hurting in your body, do you want that kind of chemistry in there? Because when you do, you'll never get well from that. And all these naturopaths or medical doctors would tell anybody with kidney problems to go on a high-protein diet needs to lose their degree right then and there, because that person's going to go to Hellville. And chances are could pass from it. So anybody that tells anybody to go on a high-protein diet with kidney failure, you need to lose your license. That's not even funny anymore, because the seriousness of what this can cause the patient or the client is devastating. It is not funny anymore. You have some serious issues out there, and people have to start looking at what's causing these problems. And if you don't want to look at your lifestyle, then I don't know what to tell you. So that's good. All right, you'll get this back, and you want to get this back. I don't know how old you are, but you want to get this back and fix that malabsorption, because you're gonna get a little skinny, in your detox, but you're malabsorbed, and you know that. So you got to fix that, and then your muscles will come back on. You'll be good. Your kidney function up. Everything's good, man. And that's what you want to do. Do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. Do it now. What's your creatinine level? When you guys tell me you have kidney problems, if you know your creatinine levels or anything like that, your budding creatinine, things like that, I'll be able to tell you. Just remember, when you're above 0.8, or even at 0.7 or 0.8 in your creatinine levels in your blood work, you're losing your kidneys. And especially see it after 1. But even 0.7, 0.8 is a good indication that now your kidneys are in trouble. You can have normal creatinine, really 0.5, 0.6. And that should be high for a raw foodist, by the way. But you can have a fairly normal level of creatinine and still lose your filtration but the kidney can still filter itself but lose the filtration systemically. And you see that for years and years where the kidneys are filtering just enough to keep themselves out of trouble, their head out of water, but at the same time the rest of the body isn't filtering well. When the lymph nodes start backing up, after a while they get hardened and swollen from sewage, acid sewage. That's where real trouble begins too. You know, you don't want to remove, harden, or anything with lymph nodes. They're your septic tanks. You lose those, and then all the cells that houses that feed into that septic system no longer can do that. That's problematic. We call that lymphedema, meaning that you're backing up your sewer system. That's easy to understand. I do have social anxiety and PTSD. Yeah, those adrenals of yours are probably going down there with the kidneys like that. Yeah, so I can see where you're struggling there, man. Well, my thoughts is, keep going. Get on 2 kidney formulas at the very least. If you need a glandular, take 1 bottle at least of a kidney glandular to wake all those up. Definitely address the adrenals, either with a glandular or with a herbal thing for the adrenals and the endocrine glands. I would really honk on with a good raw diet. I would think about a 10, 20, 30, 40-day grape fast. Really get in there and dig in and pull that kidney function back. Get that sinus moving, because you don't want to keep that. Remember all the people with the head pressures from this. And if I get one in here, we'll film it. I'll let them describe to you what it's like to have pressure in your head so painful and so much and there's no relief. Nobody can do anything about it except us, because it's not blood pressure problems. It's lymphatic pressure, like glycemic pressure. That's not good. There's no way to get relief until you open the kidneys, filtration, and the bowels. There's no way to get relief from it. You can use the neurolymphatic points. You can candle your ears. You can do all kinds of things to help get you some temporary relief. But permanent relief is opening the doors of the closed lymphatic system. Just what you're going on with you there, man. Peace, love to you, bro. Love you. Good. Get on with that and save those kidneys, though. I want to tell you that much. Got to do that. And we just had another person get rid of a pituitary tumor, by the way. Just wanted you all to know that one. I can't pronounce your name. I apologize there. Lijanas. The Janus? I don't know how to pronounce that. Farm boy that didn't like English. Tell you that much. My name, Julia. Hi, honey. I can pronounce that one. My name is Julia, and I am I've read this before, or I read one before, right? 17 years old since I was born. I have a venous malformation on my face. Oh, wow. Is this you right here? It looks similar to the attached pictures. All right. It wonder if abnormalities in the blood vessels are also caused by it. It occurs during fetal development, and since you are saying that acidosis is the root cause of all diseases, I wonder if abnormalities in the blood vessels are oh yeah, absolutely. And one of the reasons is that it leaches calcium out of the connective tissue of the vascular wall, mutating and weakening the vascular wall. And when you start seeing these levels of mutations, you can have vascular ganglias. You see a lot of those now. Lymphatic ganglias, vascular ganglias, all kinds of things like that. We've been somewhat successful with that, but I haven't had a lot of cases to work on to really see what we can do. I'll say the first thing, though, I would suggest is make sure your parathyroid is doing well. I'll show you guys pictures of what she sent. Yeah, not pleasant. Well, the first thing I'm doing, I'm going to be going upper circulation and lower circulation. Those two formulas, because those are also designed to strengthen the vascular system. At the same time, I'm going to make sure my parathyroid is up and running. I'm going to look at my fingernails. I'm going to look at you're a female, you're going to look at your menses, you're going to look at your height. If you got your eyes, pull your eyes, see if you have a pituitary. And you want to go out your pituitary and parathyroid, at the very least the parathyroid. I would also do the Bones formula or the superfood blend, either one of them for I do at least 2 bottles probably of the parathyroid. At the same time, I'm going to start fixing why things mutate. All right, so let's go back and look at why cells mutate. Well, there's only 2 sides of chemistry. How hard is that? Pretty easy, considering everything is chemistry. You have to look at this level, the physical level, you have to look everything as if it's chemistry and physics together involved. Physics propelling chemistry, and then consciousness propelling physics, propelling chemistry. So consciousness propels the mind, propels energy, propels physics, propels chemistry. Chemistry is the frequencies of electromagnetic energy from one level of looking at it. So we know that mutation always falls under the acid side. They're very rare. This idea that man is predominantly alkalosis or has alkalosis, that's a huge ignorant assumption. And I don't know where or what theory, biochemical theory, they've developed this from, but it has anything to do with actualities. We actually see our best healings when you move yourself to the base side of chemistry, which is the alkaline side of chemistry. It doesn't create alkalosis because chemistry is balanced in foods. Granted, hybrid foods are probably a little off more in chemistry than non-hybrid foods. But going after genetics, you have to get into chemistry, which then will trip back into physics. Because when you're looking at a food through the doorway of chemistry, a lot of people don't see it as a breathing electrical entity. But when you have a fruit, pick a fruit off a tree, it is vibrating electrically. It's vibrating electrically and chemically. It's when we process that or cook that or do anything but eat that, that it drastically alters the physics of it. You start dissipating the high electromagnetic energy of it, and then you start bonding the acids together and the lipids together and destroying the water solubles. So when you cook any food, that's what you're doing. So anyone that claims that cooked food could be better for you or are better for you than raw has their head someplace the sun does not shine. You can't get better. Yeah, somewhat difficult to change from a totally cooked type of dietary lifestyle into a living food lifestyle, but hugely, hugely vital, and how it makes you feel vital. You can't feel vital under a cooked sun. I wonder if abnormalities in the blood vessel. Yeah, in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that it has grown, and I've known what to do since it makes me so self-conscious. Yeah, I'll tell you, the only thing I can tell you is get way up there in your raw and in your fruits and your berries and your melons, because that's when you see changes and mutations. Generally takes you about a year to do it. I've seen changes earlier, but I don't want to put that out there. But it takes about a year. You see all the neat stuff we've shown you, and all the malformities of bone correct themselves, the body realign itself, all kinds of neat stuff. And I would be going after that. I'd be going after cleansing and strengthening. You will pull your cells back into beyond their genetic slumber, into their blueprint. And you'll start to see everything start to pull in and change, tone, and tighten. It's the only way I know you can address these problems. The only way. And I've seen mutations unmutate, so pretty neat. Remember the spinal bifida case, born without L4 and L5, now has L4 and L5. How do you explain that? Except for genetic memories and genetic blueprints beyond genetic prints, beyond genetic influences of consciousness of that cell. It's just understanding how the universe works to be able to understand that, and I feel that's why it's vital. We teach that in our level 1. How does this universe work you live in? How does your mind work? What role does it play in your experience? Your emotions, what role does it play? Quite obvious, but how does that all gel together? And learning all that is just good stuff. It puts you ahead of the pack in understanding how this world works, who you are, and what you're doing here. And it sure is okay, I'm good now. I did have a Sclerotherapy done well, where they inject a substance into the abnormal veins for the venous malformation. I'm not sure what it was, but some sort of alcohol, I think. The substance irritates the wall of the vessel, which results in the formation of a blood clot within the vessel. You know, there's just some things I think that are just way out there. Way out there. Causing blood clots because you want to end the vessel. I don't know. Maybe. The blood clot is supposed to stop the flow of blood, I get that, through the blood vessel, and if the irritation is severe enough, the blood vessel will be destroyed and replaced with scar tissue. Now, you know the problem with that? At a certain level, the body grows new. As a matter of fact, it's easier to grow new vascular pathways than it is new neural pathways. But we've done both. We've shown both, demonstrated it both in vascularly big time, but neurologically we've shown that in some quads that we worked on in the past, how we've been able to get new neural pathways around the complete spinal cord separation, plates and everything else. Pretty interesting case. It was enough to say that you would expect nature to rebuild itself on top of whatever. Nothing stops nature. Nothing stops weeds. It was better for a short period of time, but it's slowly growing bigger again. Yeah, I don't think that's the answer either. I think the truly answer, because that sounds like a dangerous answer. I think the true answer is to get your body back into a state of health and vibrancy, back into the original consciousness of your cells, and you can do that. But you have to be real strict and be 100% raw for an extended period of time, but it'd be worth it. It'd really be worth it. It was better, okay, I feel like all it really did was just to scar the tissue, which makes it harder for me to, it makes it harder for her to move her lip on one side. Yeah, I don't, obviously these are alternative methods that they're coming up with, ideas, and I can understand from their perspective coming up with these kind of ideas, but that's why they need to enjoy our level of understanding, because that's the only way you're going to get a good remedy, and possibly too, Could detoxing help it not getting bigger? It could. I have been taking your upper circulation herb for a few days now, and it feels a bit better. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Greetings from Poland. Greetings to you, my love. Man, still pulling that crap out. But it's enough to say, I'd be going for extreme regeneration. Let the body regenerate that, redirect it, cut it off as it needs it. The body does stuff like that. It's amazing, and I think that's what I would have the body redo it as it did it, because the body did it, and it's only the body, in my opinion, that can redo it. But because when you look at acidosis and you look at what's happening to all the different levels of malformations, it's only realistic to say that you have to reverse how you're creating things and have faith and understanding. And we've shown you enough cases that give you a good sense of faith and understanding that all kinds of cool things are probable. Not possible, probable. And so I think you're the one that holds the key to this, in your ability to have self-discipline and your ability to take your body down that road. But I think it's very linked to your spirituality and what you need to learn this lifetime. So you'll see as that comes and manifests, and as you change your style, I think, excuse me, I think you'll find yourself doing real well. All right? Thanks for the questions. Excellent question. And I'm anxious to see what you can do for yourself. I'm anxious. So keep us informed there. But go after this. Now, I would do the plain detox as we've been talking about, but I'd add the upper circuit and lower circuit. I'd look at that parathyroid gland. And also the pituitary. Make sure your glands are healthy, because that's when you start mutating, is when the glands are off in the hormones and steroids and neurotransmitters and the like. Oh, spirituality and OBEs. I need a drink for this one. I was wondering if you could talk a bit about the different levels of consciousness, how to achieve them, and how to live in the moment and plan for the future. Good. Thanks. Oh, I love that. A Bartholomew? A Bartholomew. Well, if you think of the Creator as pure consciousness, is pure energy, pure intelligence, pure awareness, just all the words you can describe that which is infinite. And the only way you can enter that is understanding that you're part of that. And that being a part of that, you have access to that. You can go home, cliché, you can go back. So you are being a part of that. You are consciousness. That's pure consciousness. When it takes itself and individualizes itself and sends it into creation, then it individualizes itself. That's when we look at states of consciousness. And that's when you see it at every possible level there is. The good, the bad, and the ugly. There's everything out there in creation. But it all comes from one source. There's not a bunch of gods up there. There's only one God that pervades everything. It's omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. But I think, even though those are Christian terms, if you study Buddhism and Buddha and consciousness, that's what consciousness is. It's all invasive, it's infinite, it's everything. When you look at your dogs and you're looking at the eyes of things, you're looking through that window into the souls of those, the consciousness. But to be able to take something that's infinite and bring it down to something finite, to individualize it, you have to step down the power big time. Because something like that you can imagine. Just look at a big thunder and lightning storm at that power and know that that's nothing. That's nothing. Scary. Especially if you've ever been around a hurricane. I've been around hurricanes. You hear them, you can feel them to scare you. They just scare you deep because of that loud, like, I'm going to chew you up roar. Scary, and that's nothing. So when we're talking about the infinite, we're talking about something all powerful. There's just no words to describe that. You can only merge into that as that's who you are. But to do that, you have to get outside of creation to experience those levels. And so creation is a product of the mind. So this is why we say that we step behind the mind. How do you do that? Well, there's simple. One spiritual master told me one time, and I've told this to you before, he said, stop thinking and stop talking. And he said, there's nothing you won't know. And that's the problem. What people have to understand is you're already an all-knower. The only difference, the only reason you can't tap that is your mind. Uh-oh. Excuse me a minute. Can you get this? Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So it becomes obviously clear that you must learn how to step beyond thought. But is there anything beyond the mind? Is there anything beyond thought? Everything is beyond thought. That's the secret. It's thought. It's intellectualism that's the trap. Because it's ever seeking the concept of knowledge, when the infinite already is all-knowing. There's no knowledge it can gain because it already is all of the all. So there's nothing to gain. It doesn't need to gain more knowledge, but it does develop itself into expanding itself even more as the dreamer. And constantly, if you look at the pure consciousness as the dreamer, the eternal dreamer is one word we've given it. Constantly dreaming, putting out worlds upon worlds and creating individual aspects of itself to live and run these worlds and to play into these worlds. It first creates them, then it allows you to create them. But it sends itself through boot camp to discipline itself, to develop itself, to be another dreamer. So it's a dreamer on top of a dreamer on top. I mean, it's a way to expand itself infinitely. Amazing when you look at that. Your emotions, of course, is what drives thought. How bad do you want something? You know, but you have to first think about it before you can even have it. So you have to first conceptualize what you want in your mind. Then your emotions are the driver to that. And you can use that tool to drive yourself back to God consciousness. You can use these tools in the opposite way to drive your passion to that deep alone state. That's why we're talking to another guy that asked me a question about the alone state. The secret of all secrets. How you leave this world is through yourself. Remember the old Native Americans, they like to go off. You don't want to ever pass with a bunch of people around you. You want to be alone when you pass, not the opposite. You want to go directly to where you go. You have to be alone in that state. And the more alone you get, the higher you'll get if you burned your karma off. Because in that alone state is that which exists, the infinite. It's only in that alone state that you find that door. And you have to look no further than yourself. Because when you pull yourself in the now without thinking, and you're just being in the now, living in that eternal now, just being the observer, you'll become extremely alone. You'll have a sense. It's not a feeling that comes on you. It is a state of being. And it's that aloneness that's nirvanic, that is ever consuming. You'll see people that spend time after their loved ones die and they get into that alone state, the wife or the husband, especially the wife, and then she doesn't want to partner up again because she's quite content in that alone state. People do that push themselves away from society, sometimes get into that alone state. They don't want to be bothered. Sometimes some people think it's neurotic and everything else, but in that alone state is succor, is security, because that's where you are you. Nobody can bother you there. It's amazing when you go through that door. It's not loneliness. It has nothing to do with loneliness, because all life is there, or here, however you wish to look at that. So there's all levels of states of consciousness. All levels. Look on this planet, just on this little planet by itself, this little bitty rock spinning through space. Look at how many levels or states of consciousness that are here. It's unbelievable. That's why I keep calling it Star Wars bars in terms of states of consciousness. Because we have visitors, we have all kinds of things on this planet that the average person doesn't see or know, and are kept from it. The religions keep you from it. Everybody likes to hide the truth. You ever notice that? George Bush, when I'm president, I'm going to let you all know about the UFOs. The one we have now, whatever his name is, Obama, same thing. Are you kidding me? These people are all part of a huge network of lies and everything else. Truth, we already know what the truth is. Some say, well, I believe or I don't believe. That's your problem. So spirituality, is simply becoming more awake, becoming less driven by your mind and more driven by consciousness or awareness. And that's what I'm saying about education. Education has to learn balance, because all it's doing, it's making 9 years old, my grandson, I was going to introduce him to you, making them do calculus. Give me a break. We're putting out these little machines that they can totally control the mind. They wanted to play as many games as possible. Now you're a totally controlled being. I mean, it's unreal. So we have to protect and make aware those that don't want to get so lost in creation, because creation's hard when you're lost. But it's also hard when you wake up, because now you know. But you can't change things. You have to realize this is God, this is creation. And you can get upset and you can get mad. I do sometimes, and then I'm trying to do it detachedly. There's changes that have to be done. You're not here for nothing. And some of us who are sitting here are not here for nothing. We're here to make changes. And we're given that energy and stuff to do that. So, but having out-of-body travels is of the mind and of creation. There is no traveling in consciousness. You're here. And when you're used to that, I don't travel much anymore with that kind of recognition because that's not where I'm at. I woke up from that when I was heavily into wanting to go to all these different levels and things like that. And I realized it was keeping me away from being conscious. I was focusing on traveling instead of the traveler. And my whole gig has always been you, the traveler. It's all about you. This whole thing is about you. And where are you going? Why are you suffering? And how can you fix that? And where are you going to go from here? I mean, you can play in this world, a lot of things to do, but some of the stuff gets boring after a while. If you ever learn to move your attention out of your physical body, because that's what you're doing on an out-of-body experience, you're simply moving your attention out of your physical body and into your astral body or into your causal body or into another body. You only have about 5 of them. You have a physical body, you have an emotional or astral body, that's hooked to your adrenal glands. You have a causal is past, present, and future, basically. It's the Akashic records, well-established, plain. A lot of religions come from that area, and it's called the causal world. That's where Brahm, Vishnu, Shiva come from. That's dual. That's where you see duality. Your first move from the finite worlds toward consciousness is cosmic consciousness. That's the universal mind. That's the first level. You start to realize duality is a hoax, that it's merely a mirage, and that as soon as you remove your attention away from it and become more conscious, it disappears. So cosmic consciousness is a very valued experience, 7th plane by the Buddhas. I mean, there's all levels there. But the cosmic consciousness is Holmes wrote little volumes about the universal mind. But it's how we've talked about it before, how I can have the same thought you can have. Because all our thoughts, all our minds come out of the universal mind. And that world is huge, huge. I barely remember it because I was so immersed in ecstasy. But the statutes and the buildings are beyond your comprehension. This plane is huge. Huge. This physical world would fit in a thimble. This whole galaxies and everything. The middle worlds are huge. Then you have the top of the middle world, the etheric plane. That's the id, the ego. That's the individualized self. That's what I say. When you start educating the mind too much, the id, the ego, gets educated with it. So when you start to see these more educated people, you have to be a real spiritual person not to let the ego invade you. So now when you see medical doctors, you see mostly narcissistic individuals. No offense, there's a lot of good medical doctors out there, but take a look at yourselves. You know, you have to be real careful about the id, the ego, because that's your final step of getting out of here. And that means, and this is tough to say, and I'm sorry I'm adding this in here, but it was one of the questions I said, you have to lose yourself to find yourself. You get that one? You have to lose yourself to find yourself. So you lose the little self, the me, the I, the id, the ego, for the individualized self, consciousness. And you can only do that when you finally leave the ego. Because nothing matters anyway. Who cares? No one's better than another. Nothing. We're all part of the same thing. So you have to lose that id, the ego. And that will rip a lot of you. And so if you get to that level, just remember what I'm saying here, because we're all here to help you. And we'll be here to help you. That let everything go in your life. That the masters, your spiritual guides, we're all working. Just let everything go. It doesn't matter. Whatever you see, whatever you do, let go. Just like detoxing, let go. Let it out. Clean it out. Let it go. You don't want to hold anything. You're living in the now. Nothing can bother you. So whatever comes, whatever emotions from the past, whatever people, go. Don't let it come in and sit down in your consciousness and have a seat. Or you'll be talking with it for a while. And that'll occupy space in your consciousness that would be better had if you occupied it all. Then you will become the supreme knower, the understander of life. And that's cool stuff. So I hope that helped you a little bit with that on some of these questions. My friend, I love these kind of questions. And loves and hugs to you. Big time. I just love this I mean, the physical body is simple. It is what it is. You got cells, you got two fluids, you got two sides of chemistry. Okay. So understanding that, yes, you can argue about foods and stuff like that and getting into detoxing. There's really only one way to detox. Come on. You know, and you really look at this and getting in, and you know you have to detox to get well, because if you don't remove all the acids and fix the kidneys and get things filtering and eliminating and enhancing and back to a state of wellness, then your life's going to be pretty much how you're going to experience it. If you want to be well and experience higher levels of fitness and wellness and feeling good and happiness and then growth of spirituality, that's all. It's natural. You don't even have to want to. Moving yourself to raw foods brings up your energy. Well, wait a minute. Energy is the physics side of life, isn't it? Absolutely. So by bringing up energy, you're bringing up consciousness. Aha! Because consciousness then precedes energy. You see what I'm saying? So as you start eating raw, you are bringing energy into your beingness. Because we've let energy be drained from us, from our minds, too much thoughts, too many desires, our emotions are raked over the coals, our ups and downs, we love, but we get attached, and we get ripped, and all that. And then we have the physical body. You know? Definitely no one knows how to eat right. I mean, a lot of you guys, most of you guys do. But as a rule, man on this planet's trying to catch up with where he needs to be. You know, he's been hanging back too much. So, things are getting better. But when you plug yourself into a living food diet, you're plugging yourself into a higher aspect of God. And as you plug yourself into a higher aspect of God or physics, you just see everything going back to that. So when you understand how creation is put together and who you are, you're so up ahead of so many people. Because then you have these research and all these people lost in their fields of dreams, chasing rainbows of thought from theories that have no actualities. Therefore you have a mess, a shithouse mess, where millions are being killed every year worldwide by them because they don't understand how things work. Or they put things like blood clots in there so the tissue will die on the other side of it. Now, what do you do with the blood clot? I guess you can dissolve that, right? Or do we worry about that traveling to the brain? I don't know. Hello, we need your help. We have just watched one of your videos and it was perfect timing. Oh, neato. Our friend's dad has just been diagnosed with all types of cancer. Holy crap. Let me give a cough on that one. Get this, guys. All types of cancer. Heart, lungs, brain, and both kidneys. That's pretty bad. Heart, huh? Never heard of the heart. Interesting. But what's going on here? Why does this gentleman have damaged cells, mutated damaged cells at the level beyond atypical till we call it cancer? What a crappy name for a damaged cell. But he's damaging cells in his heart, his lungs, his brain, and both kidneys. Well, where did this start? Started in his kidneys, didn't it? Absolutely did. And that's the lymphatic. These are all lymphomas, right? So it's of the lymph system. The lymph system is your sewer system. That's where the acid side of chemistry is dealt with. We all know that, and you're learning a lot about that. So the kidneys are the big problem here. Backing up in the brain, the lungs, it just simply means that his sewer system is backed up head to toe. But any cancer person is that way. But wait a minute. Any lupus person is that way. Wait a minute. Any fibromyalgia person. Wait a minute. Any arthritic person. Oh, wait a minute. And you can just keep on going. Because it's true. It's all what it is. There's no voodoo out here. There's no magic. We'll make a disease out of this, something that comes in. You talk about alchemy. The worst kind. We are desperate and want to know how we can help him. First of all, 100% raw foods right now. Right now. I don't care what. 100% raw. And I'll suggest you make that for about a week and then you hit a grape fast. You can add maybe another fruit in there, but get on a grape fast, like right now. I'd also get on the herbs. for the kidneys, the lymph, go after that because it's all you can do. You can only go after detoxification. Why? Because detoxification is the only thing that opens up and fixes the kidneys so this lymph system can drain. So all the lymph nodes come clean, all the inflammation backs away, the acids come out, any cells that are damaged are taken to the lymph nodes so the macrophages can have their little food, and then any cell debris and everything can be pissed out or sweat out. Thank you. Done. But the problem is, when you're that bad, you've been acidic for years, head to toe, you're severely dehydrated interstitially, meaning around the cells, so it's a bit that one has to do. I got millions of things coming in here at one time, so I get it, I got it. The doctors have told him that he has 6 to 22 months with chemo pills, whatever those are, and we don't want him to take them. Well, here's the thing. All right, so let's say a person is like this. They're extremely acidic. Now the acids from the cells are no longer leaving the cell. Basically, you have a constipation in the cell because the outside of the cell is impacted lymphatically. There's no more elimination outside of itself interstitially because that interstitial spaces are impacted. So it becomes, the cell can no longer eliminate its waste, its byproducts from metabolism, respiration, and the like, which are all acids. So if you can't eliminate acids outside of the cell, then you're talking intracellular acidosis, meaning that all these wastes are just like you. When you can't poop, all that waste, and if you're a meat eater, of course, you have putrefaction, all that's reabsorbed. So you have putrefaction, you got fermentation, all these byproducts are reabsorbed into the lymph and the blood system again, and around the rosy we go. So you can begin to see here that the only reason it's intracellular acidosis because the outside of the cell has been saturated already. There's protection of that cell by cholesterol, for an X amount of time. But when the cell no longer can discharge its wastes, it'd be like going out and capping off your sewer pipe. Not good. Not good because it's acids that damage and mutate. That's genetics. That's this whole thing of how you weaken tissue or weaken cells. And so, it's a nightmare. But you've got to start somewhere, and you've got to start getting those kidneys going and get those skins sweating, because now it's a job of expectoration. You've got to get all these acids outside of the cell and outside of your body. It's okay to get outside of the cell as long as there's places to go. And that means you have to start cleaning. You get the kidneys filtering, that'll start moving the lymph to the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes will start cleaning, that'll start cleaning the lymph nodes. And then the cells on the other side, the houses, the cells on the other side that's feeding into the lymph nodes now can start draining, and everything's good. Damaged cells are always taken to the lymph nodes through the lymphatic system, not through the blood system, through the lymph system, to be destroyed by macrophages. That's why macrophages are in the lymph nodes. When you start seeing who's where, what's going on, why the bacteria in the lymph nodes and all this, you start understanding what's going on. Why do they see cancer cells at lymph nodes? Cancer cells are just damaged cells. Thank you. But they make it sound so horrendous because people die from it. Well, of course people die from it. It's not from cancer. They die from acidosis. Well, wait a minute. Here's a modality that thinks they can come in on top of acidosis with a 10 to 50 times hotter acid, knowing it's going to destroy you. But if we can kill, when you got this many cells damaged from the brain down, and someone suggests chemo pills, the local constable or sheriff just need to come and grab this guy, take him down to jail for a while, and let him sit and think about why you don't give Drano to people already full of Drano. There's no way anybody recommend chemo on a guy like this needs to go to jail. Stop right now. No cut $200. Don't pass go. You're going. You're bad. Can't do that. And if they've given him 6 to 22 months on chemo, if he did nothing, he's going to live probably 3, 4, 5 years. You live a lot longer. I don't care what they say off of chemo than on chemo. How could they profess that they're going to keep you alive on chemo, knowing that they're using acids, the same thing that's causing the problem, but at a much hotter level? Does that sound realistic to you, or does that sound something that's reasonable to you? I don't think anybody thinks it's reasonable. And if a medical doctor thinks it's reasonable, time to change professions, because you're now a threat to people. You're a threat to the populace. You just can't do this kind of stuff. And they keep doing it. Now they're so bold and brazen because no one's really went after them. No judges are really taking the time to understand what's going on. No juries. No one's suing for the right reasons and under the right chemistry. It's a nightmare. It's a friggin' ass nightmare out there. So all I can say is, your friend has got to hop on the wagon to Wellville. And the only way you're going to do that is fix why your acids are damaging your cells. Well, that goes back to your kidneys. And you see both kidneys are involved in this case. So that sucks. But you've got to go after the kidneys and the lymph system, start cleaning the GI tract, get this brain opened up, start opening up this friend. Because let him view this video, because there's no chance in hell he has to live. When you have cancer when you're damaging cells in multiple places, you're in trouble. And you've been in trouble for years. No one's either told you or knocked on your door. Your body's let him know. He just hadn't been listening. And this is the problems. And this is why you guys are so important to this world. I can't even tell you. Gaining this knowledge and helping others and educating them to this knowledge is vital, because survival on this planet means it. If allopathy continues, Ted Turner already, and along with several scientists, have already said no more humans. You can't keep treating and looking at diseases and expect to have a healthy human race in the future. It's not going to be. And they don't realize they're as much a part of this problem as the diet is. This whole concept of vaccines and antibiotics and this whole idiocy. Not that you don't need antibiotics once in a while, but it is rare. Plenty of herbal antibiotics handle it quite well. But understanding what's going on when you have bacterial issues, you want bacterial issues. What you don't want is a lousy terrain, and that's just what this guy's created, a very acidic terrain, a very dehydrated terrain to where he's burning cells head to toe. You got to turn that around. There's no magic. There's no this herbal cure-all thing or this is a disease. It's simply understanding what's going on here. From pure science, what we know to be true, without theories, what we know to be true. And it's real easy to understand that. Because when your kidneys are filtering, they're filtering acids out. It's easy to understand the lymph nodes deal with acids. You got the bacteria. You have the macrophages that deal with cells that have been damaged. Blood can't deal with this. Blood is a specialized fluid. It can't be invoked on. So you have your lipids being absorbed, and it gets on more. And, okay, what are our options? Should we let him take the painkillers and chemo, or well, if you give him chemo, you might as well just a matter of time. And this idea that chemo pills will buy him 6 months to 22 months is bullcrap. I'm telling you, they have no clue. And when you're this acidic, giving those chemo pills could just be it. So it's just insane. If this man wants to live, and if you want to help him live, this man wants to live himself. You have to make sure this man wants to live, because he has to do all the work. When you start doing work for others that don't want to help themselves, it never works. So if they don't want to help themselves, let them go. They'll reincarnate, I'll guarantee you. So you don't have, but if they show signs that they really want to, because this is the only way this is the only option this man has, is to hydrate and get these kidneys filtering and get these acids out, and so the cells, the tumors can be drained out and the cells can be rebuilt and all that kind of stuff. And it happens every day. You can have multiple sites like this and rebuild the body, but you got to start, and you got to start yesterday. He had poor eating habits. Well, no kidding, and smoked for years. Well, smoking is acidic. So absolutely, majestic. Anyway, thanks so much. But yeah, this is one case where you want to get him because he's in deep, deep trouble. And this is what I'm trying to say to everyone. We've pushed it too far because we've been trusting a modality that has an elitist, narcissistic view of life and of man. And if anyone hasn't visited medical doctors recently, go have them visit a few of them. Get an idea of who you're talking about. I mean, it's just a mess. And it's a killing field. And we need to turn everything around to where medical doctors, naturopaths, all of us are working on the same field, level field. Because it's easy to get people well. It might take a while for some of you. And those that have gotten so advanced by genetics and stuff, that's just your karma. Just realize that you have an opportunity to work through it. Take that opportunity if you have the consciousness to. Take the opportunity and you'll be so happy you did in every aspect of your life. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. All right, this is Ashley. I have suffered from frequent flatulence for about 6 years. I understand that a vegan fruit-based diet would be ideal. I have experimented with a raw food diet for about a month before and my gas stayed the same but sometimes worse. Please share some information on why I experienced this and any of your advice. I have had blood work done. Excuse me. Where's that? And stool sample examined. Everything came back normal. I am a 21-year-old female embarrassed to be around people. My social and work life has suffered long enough. Oh, anytime, man. All right, so think about this, guys. Remember, we've talked a lot about sulfurs. Oh, but they still sell MSM and glucosamine and all this. You know, all these sulfites. Wines are full of sulfite. Man just has this fetish. He's so scared of bacteria because he doesn't understand it. It's just insane what man has done to it itself. But it's enough to say, take a picture of your eyes, and if you have blue eyes, you can see the sulfur if you have them. You can see some sulfur in lighter brown eyes, but it's orange in color. If you have sulfur, it's generally around the gut, so it's very bloaty, gassy, especially when you do raw foods, because raw foods particularly has astringents, particularly your fruits and your berries and melons, can make you much more gassy and bloaty. And for those that have the sulfurs, don't get upset because you have to get them out. Get the GI brew. Remember we talked about sulfur before? That Charles Goodyear used sulfur, used sulfur drugs to harden his substance for tires. So you can understand that they've been giving you a substance that Charles Goodyear used to harden his chemical mixture to create tires. And yet they put in antibiotics and everything else. And so we have been given these sort of things. And so now, and I've always said sulfur, not understanding sulfur as much, just seeing how hard it is to detox out of people, I've always said sulfur is a super glue. It's just hard to get out. Now, except for that, what types of food give you gas? This is the type of gas you're going to get eating anything, everything, and it doesn't matter. But you're really going to experience when you do the raw foods because that's going to pull a little more on that. Now, with that said, if you get gas eating carbohydrates are fruits, berries, melons, and salads, vegetables. Those are carbohydrates. Starch is your grains. It's complex, or your potatoes. You start complexing carbohydrates from simple sugars, and you get your starches. But carbohydrates need the pancreatic enzymes to digest. If your pancreas is suppressed or inflamed and you're not getting the digestive enzymes you need, then you're going to start seeing gas from fermentation. And then you will see undigested foods as a rule coming out your stools. Now, you can also get that from lipids and stuff from liver gallbladder problems. So you have to take a look and see if it's sulfur or pancreatic or whatever. If it's sulfur, you just got to get deep cleaning in there. Use the GI broom, the stomach and bowel formula, start really cleaning yourself. Get your kidneys opened up and move your lymph. It'll take you a little while to do that, and you're going to have some up and downs with gassy, bloaty, stuff like that, but you'll eventually get your remedy. Now, if it's a pancreatic problem, I would get the pancreatic capsules and go on those maybe 2-3 times a day is what I would do. At the same time, I'm detoxing. I'm going to clean my pancreas because why am I not getting the enzymes I need? So I'm going to go and fix the pancreas. But I'm not just going to go after the pancreas because I know what brings things down in the body are the two fluids. We know the blood is rare to bring anything down and kill you if it does. So we know we're looking at one fluid and we're looking at one side of chemistry. We're looking at the lymphatic fluids and the acid side of chemistry, which is its job. And that's when you find the inflammation, the swelling, the suppression, or the hyperactivities. All those things fall under this umbrella. It appears, as the illusion of creation appears, it appears as if there's multiple issues out there when there's really only one. How interesting. So you want to go after that, dear one, and fix that up. Same thing with liver gallbladder. It wouldn't hurt to go a detox where you do a liver gallbladder formula for a couple months and do your pancreatic or alternate to save your money. You could alternate 1 bottle of liver gallbladder, 1 bottle of pancreas, and clean that out. But there's a lot of sulfur out there, guys, and it's not pleasant. And it's just not fun. It's always gaseous, and you can pass gas all the time. And some of the bad places. But look at your eyes and you'll be able to tell whether it's sulfur right off, and you'll be able to see if there's a lacuna in the pancreatic area, gallbladder area. So a picture of your eyes will be very helpful for yourself to take a look at there, my dear one. And fix this up. You're only 21. I can understand it's not a very fun thing. But it can also lead to serious problems. You know, gastritis, enteritis, which is small bowel inflammation, colitis, colon inflammation. The same thing. It's all acidosis. But it gets locked interstitially, meaning in the wall. And it's just not pleasant. Not pleasant at all. So determine which one and go after it. But you're going to detox anyway, so you're going to want all sulfurs out anyway, no matter what. Thanks, Ann. This is, yeah. Yep. You'll get that back to normal, though. Oh, herpes. I came across your information and wondered what info or YouTube you have curing HSV2. I know it will take time to answer, but I'm looking forward to your response. Oh, Christina. Well, you know, antivirals are all detoxable. They're all detoxable. But these are proteolytics, and you only see them when you're very acidic. Now, it's like the herpes sores in your mouth. You don't see them until you're really acidic. You know, you're checking down on pineapple or something that's very acidic. It hasn't been properly raised. Absolutely. And so you're going to see those. But detox is how you get rid of all of them, sweetheart. The same thing with HIV, the same way with Hep C, Hep B, all these things you detox. All viral loads, you just detox them. It's the only way you can get viral loads out of the body, is detox your body. This idea of killing a protein, viruses, I don't know. You know, not a lot of information on what viruses are. Proteins with an attitude, but they're like antigens and stuff like that. Like that's why you see you can have a viral load and not an expression, like an HIV versus AIDS, or Hep C viral loads versus hepatitis. You'll see that. And then ask yourself, how come one doesn't have full blown and one is? And it all is a condition of your cells. How weak are your cells? Everything deals in nature, guys, with strengths and weaknesses. The weak are consumed and eliminated. Nature does not deal with weakness as well. They get rid of them. And that's what the seriousness of the human condition is, in all seriousness. We've weakened ourselves to the point of very serious problems. And the medical doctors want to keep weakening them? Keep insulting them with higher acids and everything? I mean, it's insanity. There's no respect for the cell there. There's no respect for any of that there. And that's sad stuff. There's not a pharmaceutical that respects health or the body or the cells. Are you kidding? They're relentlessly reckless. And it's just horrible. You know, when you release chemicals that hurt millions of people worldwide, and then the same ones kill millions, we got a serious problem. Serious problem. Not just political problems. We have serious problems here in our healthcare systems. And it all comes from intellectual narcissism, elitism. I mean, it does. I'm better than you. My system is the only system. Oh, really? Your system doesn't cure anything. Ours cures it all. Not diseases, though. Nobody cures diseases. Remember that. That is sole property of the allopathic community. Enjoy them, guys. Enjoy them all you want. But you got to detox it out, sweetheart. You got to detox. Because herpes are all over the place. And you can't blame people too much because it's just all over the place. If you have anybody to blame for herpes, who are you going to blame? Pharmaceutical companies again. Why? Smallpox, remember? All links to shingles and everything else. Herpes vaccine, the mutation, right? So now a lot of us that took the smallpox were stuck with herpes. I detoxed mine out. But you just got to detoxify yourself. The only way to get rid of that is clean out the crap they put in you years ago. Amazing, amazing stuff here. Matthew, hey Matthew. Hi Doc, here's what I am at right now. My advice turning my health back around would be, oh, I think I've read this already. Yep, I did. Good deal. All right, on to another pile. All right, this is quite a long one. Let me see here. Okay, Jackie, sweetheart. Thank you too, sweetheart, for the congrats. Thank you. I was just watching one of your recent YouTube Q&As, and you started your letter reading with a couple of critical individuals. I believe they largely stem from one or some of your Facebook forums. I am a subscriber to both your YouTube and Facebook sites. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. I don't know what's going on with the Facebook sites, but, you know, I mean, we're going to be looked at by the FDA and everybody else. Just plan on that. Plan on it. But understand that the FDA is there to protect the medical doctors and the pharmaceutical companies. They're not a consumer protection agency. They might put out feelings like they are and make you think they're really on the job, but if you look at what they're doing, they're not. If you see what they're doing to our field, it's a nightmare what they're doing to us. It is a nightmare, and every month it seems like there's something else they want to take away. And so people do that until you stop them, and no one's really stopped them, and we have to stop them. And the only way to do that is to go to the courts first, and that's where this is probably going to go in the future, because these guys are getting out of control. You know, and they don't care anymore, and this is the problem. They're much as responsible for the deaths of all the humans as pharmaceutical companies the other. They allowed this, and they're not supposed to. So this is what you get when you get corruption, and you get this narcissistic elitism concepts, where, you know, we're above everything. Yes, you're all God people, but we're above that. Yeah. Good luck. I am a subscriber to both Facebook. By God's grace, we've been healing ourselves naturally for almost a decade, and I find the deeper I get, the more I see. Yeah, the more I see, the more I understand that while life and healing are bigger than I shall ever understand, they are truly simple. And I think you should always keep it that way, because it's just, the mind can't figure it all out. It's too complex. But it's also simple. You have duality. So all life is simplistic. But the complexity to make it, unreal. But remember, it comes out of consciousness, which that's who you are. So get more to that, and you'll start seeing how things are working better and better and better, and how the mind is carrying people on these trips of dreams that have no reality or no place to go. And so when you get lost in that, and so it's hard to realize, since we've been so trained academically that academics is the thing that's sewing our caskets on, that we can have academics, but we have to have the balance of spirituality. So the narcissisms or the egos aren't padded, and that these people do not feel like they're better than the average person, because they learned something from books that other people wrote of what they thought they learned of theories and things like that. You ever notice few have actualities in that? So when you're thinking about academics, what are you learning? And regarding these Facebook people, I have posted a couple of times on the site, and I believe herein lies the problem: ignorance. While social media is a wonderful tool, it's also responsible for the spreading and reviving of ignorance. Here's my example. I asked the lovely Facebook forum, fans of Robert Morse, about curing a spider bite naturally. All right? I am a graduate of YouTube University and you of Google. So I was already pretty confident with how to proceed, but I figured if anyone on God's green earth knew how to heal, it would be the people on your Facebook forum. Wouldn't you think? I wouldn't. But you have to remember, these are just good souls learning about things that make you healthy, and they're excited about it. and wanted to have a site where we can discuss and talk instead of the YouTube sites. So Marco thought he was doing a great thing, and I do too. You know, having a forum that you can talk. I don't expect all the YouTubers on that forum, sweetheart, to know how to do these things. I really don't. You really have to have some education to understand. You have to know some herbs and how to understand spider bites and things like that too. I would think the smarter ones would understand that, though, how to go to the lymphatic systems, you know, and work with that. But again, you know, this is, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. I shall tell the positive first. There was plenty of educated, concerned people who led me in the right direction. But imagine my surprise when I received some very off-the-wall ignorant responses, like go to the ER immediately, what the patient had already done, which resulted in a 3-minute conversation leading to only an antibiotic prescription. Yeah, I mean, that was a little... Yeah, maybe I'm glad I'm reading this, because for those on the Facebook forums, just stop and think common sense. You know, we get a lot of people with the brown recluse spider bites and the black widow spider bites, because we have both down here in Florida. And you ought to see, after they go to the ER, when they come in here, I had a lady come in here, had been bit on the leg, and what it looked like after a week of heavy antibiotic use. She'd been a week at in the hospital, and they'd been saturating her with antibiotics, and it looked bad. It looked so bad, it wasn't even funny. And I had it cleared up in 2 weeks at the most. I mean, that, you know, you cannot beat herbs. And you also have to understand that any poisonous bite like that, whether it's excitotoxin or neurotoxic, it doesn't matter, you got to detox it out of you. And what herbs are for poisons? The lymphatic system. I would expect the Facebook people to know that, sweetheart, but for those that understand the lymph system and poisons and acids and toxins, yes. But the lymphatic herbs are always, remember the cobra story of the cobra and the mongoose, you know, and how the mongoose loves cobras, and how cobras always seem to bite them. They go out and find plantain, eat it. That's what's in your heal all everything. It's plantain. But you got poke root, bloodroot. Remember, these herbs pull tumors out of you. So yeah, you always get on your lymphatic herbs, open up your kidney filtration, move that lymph, it'll clean that up real nice. You can put poultices on of the same stuff, draw any poisons out there, and you're good. And that's for anybody. You get snake bit, you can go to the ER and look for snake venom, but while you got a bottle of lymphatic, I'd be drinking it, and you'll do real well. Do the lymphatics, bring up the adrenals, parasite M's, you know, saturate yourself with those things, and you'll be good. And then you can go and still have your snake venom. Chances are you're not going to need it. So I think these critics from Facebook and or your YouTube must be the ignorant and or newbies to natural healing in general. And there probably are, sweetheart, a lot of them that are newbies, you know, to that. And I would expect them to understand. But I think that, be careful about advice. Going to the ER is important for certain things. There's no question. I recommend the ER for certain things. But a spider bite or something like that, easy to take care of that with herbs and stuff like that. And you want to, because when you go on antibiotics, you start screwing up your system again. And it's not an antibiotic issue. Matter of fact, bacteria might chew that up for you. That's the problem. They're so instilled or brainwashed that antibiotics is good for everything. It's just insanity. That's not true. I mean, look at all the Lyme's. It's supposedly a bacterial problem, and they just saturate the back. No one ever gets cured of Lyme's using antibiotics. We get them in here after rounds and rounds and rounds. I mean, lifetime of antibiotics, steroids, and it shows you the systemic acidosis of it all. See where I'm going with all that? Okay, as you say, they are not at a higher spiritual level, which would allow them to step back and shut up until they really had heard from the Almighty. But with life is going, especially when giving advice to other spiritual beings, they speak their opinion. Well, I know. You just have to have some patience with that, my dear, because it takes a while for growth to set in. The fact that they're on there and growing makes me happy, that the fact that they are. You do have to be cautious about advice like that, though. And I will have to say, you guys giving advice, you know, your advice wants to be about health and detoxification, because that's what this channel is all about. And there are some on there that are newbies, and, you know, they freak out and want to go places, but You guys just keep settling in. And this letter is helpful in the sense of the spider bite, to let you know how easy it is to deal with spider bites and snake bites and stuff like this, you know. But, you know, with that said, you know, I expect people to work this through. They speak their opinion with no practical experience to back them up, even though they say they have tried healing with fruits and it didn't work. Yeah, that's ridiculous. There are some of those people there that also pissed me off too, saying shit like that. No offense, you know, but that's sometimes I get in my little pissed off state too. But I'm proud of them for at least working it and at least putting their feet in the water and saying, oh, after a while, they'll get a little more in the water, a little more in the water. Oh, it's all pretty good. But it is difficult when people are giving opinions when they don't have the knowledge of that. Yes, I agree with that in terms of that. So I'm just saying for people, you know, be careful of the knowledge you're giving. Understand that you want to give them the knowledge of wellness and how to get well. And for those that don't understand herbs, start studying herbs. They're fun. And take a little herbal degree. They're easy to get. Anyone can get herbal degrees. And they're fun. And you get to learn about herbs and what you can use them for. And if anything, it's just really, herbs are the future, not pharmaceuticals. That's going to come to a real screeching halt pretty soon because something's going to blow. You can't keep killing massive amounts of people like this and getting away with it. It's just not going to happen. I'd be looking right now if I was the FDA backing away from us, backing away because we're going to come hard. This is not going to be an easy come with them. We're coming hard because they've been raiding. They're big goons and guns and raiding poor innocent, pissed, spiritual people. It's going to hit them like no tomorrow, let me tell you. Karma's karma, and it's not us. God keeps its own self straight, and it's known to whap itself pretty good. So you can't keep doing that. I just pray that these people will still their minds when giving advice to seekers. I know, and I don't know what to say about it, sweetheart. I don't know what to say about it. I don't. I don't know how you stop anything like that. But I also know that there are some loving souls, but there are also those that have attitudes. And this is a problem we see in this office all the time. There's a lot of hurting people out there. There's a lot of confused people out there. And between the hurting and the confusion, it's a mess. You got all these people like the 60 banana a day guy. I mean, I'm not mentioning any names, but, you know, I mean, these are out of balance people. You can't, these are people that obviously have never been involved in healing of others because you can't do that. And all the people that went down and did 30 bananas and the coffee enemas didn't work out, did it? You can't, there's certain things you can't do, and you have to trust some of us older people that have been through this most of our lives. What works and what doesn't work, especially us that are getting incredible results. You have to trust what we know sometimes and dump what you think you know that isn't true. Because we carry a lot of that crap around and we're willing to fight over it and upset everybody over what we think we know and it's not even true. So you really want to make sure before you speak that you know what you're saying is true. There's an old saying we had in Eckankar, and it came from Darwin, which was one of the most powerful masters I've been around. No offense for those, but he just could pluck you right out of your body. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary? Those are the three things I think about before I speak. Is it kind? Is it true? And is it necessary? And when you think of those three things before you speak, a lot of times there's not much to say. Is it kind? Because it does no good to bash people. But at the same time, some people need bashed. You know, so I don't know, but you have to let God do the bashing. Is it true? You only speak that things that you know to be true. We think a lot of things are true when they're not true, and that's the sad part. And that's what you have to allow. People are educated sometimes in believing things that are not true, so you have to allow for that. And then the person saying go to the ER, well, maybe they thought that was, you know, you got bit by a bad thing, you need to run and make sure you're protected. But you have to understand that the ER, the emergency room I spent a lot of years at. A lot of friends who spent most of their life in ERs. I have a lot of friends that were anywhere from ER docs, respiratory therapists, to cardiac people. So we all spend a lot of time in ERs. So I got to watch how the ER works, obviously. Very much a part of that scenario. And I can only tell you that all emergency rooms needs naturopathic understanding. All dietitians in hospitals need a naturopathic understanding, not naturopathy understanding. I'm going to have to define myself even there now, because we have naturopathic medicine, which has no understanding of health. Naturopathy, the study of nature through science. Naturopathic medicine forgot about naturopathy, its foundation it rests on. Man. Have a little patience. But if you have a problem like that and you feel like that Facebook or the others can't give you an appropriate answer, you call the clinic or the club. Clinic part of the club. Because we have the answers for you and how to help you through these things. And we don't mind a call like that. What we prefer not is someone calling 6 and 7 times a day on little questions that you can get in the books and you can read. You want to start reading books and educate yourself. The right books, though. You know, and looking at the raw foods and looking at fruitarian books and getting where this is all coming from. Fun stuff. Because it makes you feel better. And you become a part of a huge growth of consciousness that's taking place here. And you've got spiritual beings, you've got the ability to learn how to leave your body at will, you've got all kinds of things here for you to help you to have a lot of fun in life and to pull yourself up out of this daily survival of simply eating and having shelter and going to work. Maybe buying new cars and new houses. There's a lot more to life than just that menial survival on planet Earth. I'm hoping that I can help you give all that to you, you know. So we have to have patience with each other as well. So I see both sides of this coin. But you just can't help. There's always going to be those that are less aware than others, and it's just the way it is. We've had a lot of years in practice where we've been learning through our practice. You know, they say this about medical doctors, oh, they're still practicing, but I have to tell you in defense of a medical doctor, I am too. I'm still learning, and always will be, and so will each and every one of you. But I want to learn factual stuff, not from other people who thought they knew facts that didn't. I want to know what works. And at this point, we know enough that the only real question is what herbal formulas or what herbs can we interject or use to maybe speed things up. There's not, you don't have to have much more knowledge, because there's not much more knowledge you can deal with anything. There's nothing you can do to things. You have to allow the all in the all who created this deal with this. Not us little individuals. So that's what I'm saying about energy and consciousness of the foods and the power of taking the body back genetics. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm getting there too. All right, I'll end. So there's a lot to this, you know, understanding. But if you keep it simple and kick back and take a look at you and how you work with your mind and your emotions and all that, and that's how life works with the mind and emotions. All life is subject to it. There's no one that can come from above and skip all that to get here. Everything has to come through the mental worlds, the emotional worlds, and to the physical world that's in the physical world, including cell consciousness, animals, plants, the whole 9 yards. You can't have anything here, anything at this physical level, without first being in the mental worlds. You can always perceive in the mental worlds what's here, or going to be here, because a lot of it's already created and not here yet. And you can view these things. That's the fun of it all, if that's your gig. My gig is totally different. I'm a traveler. I travel and help where I can. Interesting read. It is. This is really intellectual written, but it sounds to me like calcium has a heartbeat, like effect on the lymph system through a calcium dump and refill mechanism and a calcium homeostasis in the body. I'm going to read this. Thanks. I appreciate that. Let me read that, and I'll get back with you on that. I like stuff like that, because really, if you kick back on an intellectual read and you read between the lines, you have to, you know, and understanding the channels. Now, where the problem comes in on a research paper or a thing is you have to realize there's some theories involved in their analysis and things like this. So you just have to keep what you know to be true and observe the study. I've got to go here. Here is, can a lipoma in the corpus callosum of the brain be dissolved? Absolutely. I know you have seen them on the skin. Oh, absolutely. But that is indicative of inflammation and acidosis in the brain too. So that's the real problem. You know, you can get these lipomas will dissolve. That's not an issue. But the couple of issues here in the brain would be, you know, is there any, as it grows, is there any suppression of the flow of blood, nerve, or lymph? And then, of course, we know that's all done in the matrix of inflammation or acidosis. So I have severe vertigo, dizziness. Yeah, see now, this is coming back in the cerebellum too. So, you know, all of this is, you just got to drain your kidney. You got to get your kidneys filtering and work on your neural lymphatics. You've got to, this is all of the lymph system still. This is of the fatty part of the body. Fats are lymphatics. And the reason is they're acid neutralizers. They're powerful acid neutralizers. This is why you see cholesterol involved all the time in conditions, because every condition you see, 9.99999 times out of 10, it's acidosis. And in that you will see the lipids coagulating, you'll see the whole 9 yards, head to toe. But this is going backed up all in the cerebellum as well, mood swings, mental changes. Yeah, so got to get yourself detoxed. And boy, since it's so in a location that's not fun, get yourself on a grape fast. Put yourself 10, 20, 30-day grape fast. Get yourself on raw and go back and forth and play with this and start getting those kidneys opened up. Sometimes I feel a lot of pressure on my left side of my head and on my left pupil. Yeah, that's what I say. Get that GI tract opened up, the GI broom, then get the bowels cleaned up, get the kidneys filtering, start pulling on that lymph system, dear one, because that's essential. You don't want this thing getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Plus, you want the inflammation out because you're going to have all kinds of problems. Not to mention where you're having now with all the equilibrium and dizzy, and then pretty soon you feel like you're not even in the physical body. Yeah, this is a big problem. And you really want to get that. The only way you can dissolve these is alkalizing. Alkalizing. That's the only way. And you've got to get those kidneys and everything hydrated and everything, all these acids moving and filtering through the lymph nodes and then the kidneys or skin. Oh, man, I don't like that left side of my head and my left pupil slightly bigger than my right. Well, yeah, you're suppressing your nervous system a little bit there as well, the optic nerves. I'm confused sometimes and don't know why. Well, you know, you're right in the central nervous system, sweetheart. Oh, my God. You want to hop on this and hop on this now. I don't care if it's cold and ice and everything else, wherever you are. Put yourself on a fast. Get yourself on a grape fast. Get yourself 100% raw for a couple of weeks and then hit it hard. And you can hit it hard now if you need to. But go on the lymphatic formulas and the kidney formulas at the very least. Something for your adrenals at the very least. Internal dialogue is corrupt by my symptoms. I have always had a strong bond with God myself, and I feel my true soul trying to lift me, and make me survive. But I live in Miami. Oh, that's good. That's good. And the jobs don't pay enough to support organic living. Well, don't do organic. Whatever you do, you just get the grapes, wash them with veggie wash, but you get on a grape fast, sweetheart, and do it now. I wouldn't wait. Because this bills and bills. Nothing good ever comes of anything like this. You want to get this out of there. And it'll dissolve. It'll start dissolving and dissolving. And we get them like this, like dragon's backs and stuff, and they all dissolve real nice and look pretty again. But you want to get this one out of there. Location, no kidding. Do you know any organic farmers beyond Miami? But as far as your luck, I wouldn't even worry about organic. I just jump on it right now and wash everything good. Unless you want to go down to Costa Rica or somewhere and really get well. I also gave gallstones, gallstones, digestive issues like bloating and strange aches in gut, and brownish toenails. I want to be ultimate self, amazing and full of life, so I may help this world. Well, sweetheart, then, I'll tell you what here. Who is this? Erica. You've got to detox, and detox now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, not, You got to get yourself open, sweetheart. Get these kidneys filtering, start hydrating, work on this GI tract, GI, broom, lymphatics, start pulling on this lymph system so you can dissolve this. And if you have any more, they'll dissolve away too. Because, generally you start having some lipomas, you start getting them in multiple places like you do tumors. I mean, this is just all about acidosis and what happens under that effect to lipids and other chemistry. It's just typical stuff. So you'll get that out of there. If you need our help, call us. But you get on this right now, okay? I've got to leave, so I'm going to have to go. But we're getting them. We're slowly getting them, and I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back every day this week. Hopefully give you enough to get this down a ways. And there's so many people out there needing of help. So everyone, learn as much as you can about truth. And when you give advice, try to speak from your heart, that sort of thing. But, some things are understandable. Everybody's on different levels. And I don't expect all of you to have, science mind and you be at the top of the thing. It doesn't matter. Matter of fact, I'm trying to let you know that it doesn't matter how educated you are. You can still help people overcome any problem on this planet. You don't have to have college degrees and act like you're some doctor way above everybody else. And that includes the naturopaths and everything too. You don't need these levels. We've learned. Some of us had to learn and go through all this, learn the shortcuts, learn what you need. So we don't need all that crap anymore. It's kind of like what you're seeing slowly. You keep a watch out on there, like the cell phones going back to the flips and things. You're going to see those pull away from the mind more and more now and go to simplicity. And you're going to see this more and more and more. We've saturated intellectually to a point where they're bumping uglies with each other. And so it's just a mess. And of course now they're insulting this country, the Constitution, with that same intellectual elitism. And it's just people that think they know what's good for everybody else. They lack spirituality. Bottom line, and those souls, you got to get them or they're going to spin and spin and spin. For you guys that are gaining it, you'll be done here. And your worlds get better and better and finer and more magnificent, and things just get more nirvanic and exciting, and I don't know what to tell you. Just that I love you all, and you've done real well. No judgment here. You guys keep working on your awareness and your knowledge and working on yourselves and helping others, and keep doing. You're doing a mighty fine job. I love all of you. And we'll do this. We'll get her done. We'll get her done. Love you.